Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. The political discussion today is around Raila Amolo Odinga, and very many people are quick to bash him on his statement that he made today. He made a position about the calls for Ruto's resignation. And I want us to have a very candid discussion on this, looking at every sentiment and every theories that have been advanced ever since the Gen Zs went to the street to fight for their own rights, something that they say the parents are unable to achieve, and they're saying the parents have done their part and they want to take over. Now, before I move on, I want us to agree on three things, and if you disagree with me, you will tell me. Number one, we must agree because this is political. Now, politically, there is time for everything. And that, of course, is a law that is applied everywhere. There is time for everything. To the Azimio supporters and the Kenya Kwanza supporters and Gen Zs, we must agree that there is time for everything. Number two, we must agree that every generation has got their moment. And in this sense, we had a time when a generation went to the forest and fought the colonial masters, and they succeeded. And then came the second liberation. There is a generation that went to the street. If you look at people like James Orengo today, people like Martha Karua, some of the people are even dead, Charles Rubia, people like Masinde Muliro, they had their moment. And it was never easy. They had to face many obstacles. Number three, we must agree, because the discussion is going to surround or to be about Raila Amolo Odinga, because many people don't seem to understand Raila. That is a fact. We must agree here that Raila is human. That is one thing we must agree. He is human. He is a Kenyan. He's got his personal opinion and democratic rights. So once we agree on those three things, then we can move on. Today, Raila, while addressing ODM parliamentary group, advanced his now long-term position about Ruto's resignation. Oburu Odinga, who is a brother to Raila, once asked Gen Zs that the moment you're saying that Ruto should go, then what will happen if he goes? And they seem to have bought this narrative that in the event that William Ruto is outside that office, then constitutionally, Rigathi Gachagua will take over. And Raila, while addressing the ODM parliamentary group, had this to say: Ruto goes, then what? That has been the question in every person's mind. Ruto may go, then Gachagua takes over to continue implementing bad policies. Ruto can also say, I am tired, let the military generals take over. Then the country begins to go through what Egypt went through after Tahrir Square. Ruto must go, cannot be an end. That statement is so profound. It is a declaration. Depending on how you look at it, others may say that Raila anatuzia woga. Yeah, others are saying that no, that is a statement from a coward. That is how some people look at it. Others are saying that we need to scrutinize why Gen Zs are on the streets, and therefore Raila could be right. What happens after Rigathi Gachagua goes? Raila went ahead and said that it's at times of crisis like this that a country needs to talk. We are not doing it to save Ruto. We are doing it to save Kenya. Generals don't have tear gas. They don't have water cannons. They have bullets. Now, I want us to begin from here. I thought that in the event that generals take over, they don't take over to kill people. They take over to form a caretaker government and arrange for an election. And in this sense, you may think that Raila is selling fear to the people. But I want us to look at it further, ladies and gentlemen. In the event, because I am trying to look at history, you know, the constitution is clear that when William Ruto is out of power, then the deputy will take over. But that is if he's out of power constitutionally. You know, revolutions are not constitutional. In my opinion, I feel if Gen Z's revolt and this uprising results in Ruto ouster, then the entire government, it is a vote of no confidence against the entire government. When people go to the street and say Ruto must go, it is not only William Ruto. And a good example is just the other day, they told William Ruto that the Inspector General is part of you because he's your appointee. He should go, he must go. They said the cabinet is appointed by you, the cabinet must go. And so in my opinion, if William Ruto should resign as a result of the revolution, then the Gen Zs will demand that the entire Kenya Kwanza government should go. And that is how, if at all the generals will take over, they don't take over to start shooting people, but they take over to bring order and sanity. This statement alone gave William Ruto authority to continue killing people. Of late, ever since Douglas Kanja was appointed to replace, in an acting capacity, the former Inspector General, Japhet Koome, I have seen a lot of atrocities. For the first time, the police are abducting people, even at the police station. Some, I don't know, they call them goons or police. For the first time, policemen are masking themselves and they're, committing acts of atrocities. They have gone into churches. They have gone into hospitals. They have thrown tear gas into school compounds. And Japhet Kanja seems to be even more ferocious than the other guy who went. The government has been acting with some kind of restraint because Raila has been on their neck. But now that Raila made this statement, the government has been given a lot of weight that now Ruto should continue, because the only person who has always tried to defy them, to ask questions when they go astray is Raila Odinga. Of course, we have other bodies like the Law Society of Kenya, and Madam Faith, by the way, is doing a good job. We need to salute her. We have several rights groups, Haki Kenya and Haki Africa, all those. But you see, Raila has got a big following. And so when he says that Ruto going is not the solution, it is like he's supporting William Samoei Ruto, and he says people must talk. He has given William Ruto that authority. If you tell us that people must talk, Raila believes in talking, and I will say this again. His magnanimity, his being a statesman, that when we need to push things into a corner and get to the final, battlefield, Raila retreats and he says, I don't want people to die. Like right now he's talking about the bullet. But that is where the question, $100 billion question, comes out of that. Why was Raila going to the street? In fact, it's been after 2007, 2013, 2017, and 2022. He went to the streets and he was calling upon Ruto to resign. He was saying that his votes were rigged. So the question is, why did he go to the streets and people were killed? If he believed that William Ruto is such a good person who should continue leading, that is the question. Why did he lead people to demonstrations? And now he's coming back to tell people. These are the questions that people are asking. What was going to happen if William Ruto resigned? Was Gachagua going to take over? These are questions that people are asking. And that's why I said that every generation has got its moment. Raila had their moment with the people. They have done their part. And we cannot forget what he has done. Number two, is it right for Raila and the Azimio to lead people to the streets against Ruto, against every regime that they feel has wronged them? While it is wrong, it is a crime for the Gen Zs to go to the street. And I think this is where we draw a line. Many people feel that the political class are now feeling threatened by this generation because they are taking over. For a very long time, some people thought that it is only Raila who could call for a demonstration, for a protest against a government. But now it is coming out very clearly that this generation can also, conduct a very peaceful, protest. Raila felt angered and vexed because his votes were rigged, and that is why he called people to the streets. The same way he's got his democratic rights to go to the street is the same way the Gen Zs have got a right to go to the streets. The constitution was never made for a certain class of people. And the political class must not think that they have authority over others. If Raila and Kalonzo and Wetangula and Ruto have got the right to go to the streets, and no one was questioning them, they should not question the Gen Zs. And I understand that Gen Zs are young and they could be very much exuberant. They should be guided. They should not be attacked. And Raila has got his personal opinion about this. If the problem is Rigathi Gachagua, then why don't we say this? As we go to the street, we say Ruto and Gachagua must go. So that in the event that he's going, it is known that if he exits power, they go with Gachagua. Because they were elected under one ticket. Raila has just given William Ruto an authority to kill us, to kill the Gen Zs, because he is siding with him. But one thing I must tell you, Gen Zs started their own game, and they are doing it differently. Let people stop asking questions. I hear people are asking, Ruto goes, so what? What is the end game? What was the end game of Azimio going to the streets? Did they achieve that? What was the end game? They said Ruto must go. Ruto has not gone. They are now working with William Ruto. Why is it that when for the same reason Gen Zs go to the street and they are saying Ruto must go, they are now being questioned, what is the end game? Have we achieved the end game? For those who went to the street, why did they retreat? They retreated to some dialogue. What has that dialogue achieved? In fact, the main thing that was supposed to be included in the dialogue was the cost of living. It wasn't. All we had in that dialogue was people given positions. The position of Mudavadi has to be actualized under the constitution. Then why must you force Gen Zs to talk? I think these people, the Gen Zs started their own. Let them go there. They can make mistakes, but as they do that, they will mature as they move on. They only need guidance. But this idea of forcing people to follow Ruto, to talk to Ruto once they have said they're not going to talk, is wrong according to me. And Raila has got his democratic rights. Let him support Ruto. I agree with him if he wants. But let them not force anyone. For those who are tired, they can go to the streets. And if you have had your moment and you went to the streets and you felt you did enough, fair enough. Let others take over. And I must end by saying that you cannot take it away from him. Raila did a marvelous job. They fought to expand the democratic space. They gave us a new constitution. They repealed Section 2A. And today we can speak very loudly even about the president. Those gains can never be taken away from him, but he should also let others speak from where he has left, ladies and gentlemen. And he must not allow William Ruto to start killing people just because he has given him the green light and because he's helping him against his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. I wonder why Raila is doing this. When William Ruto picked Rigathi Gachagua, Raila had Martha Karua, and William Ruto and Rigathi told us they would work, they were very compatible. Why cry now? We must not join Ruto-Rigathi war. All we want is accountability. Stop the wastage and corruption. And on this, I must say, despite all that Raila has done, sometimes he's wrong according to me, and according to him is right. Let each and every person follow his or her constitutional right, as long as they don't infringe on others' rights. And that is my take.